Hey guys, welcome back to the Irish Sooners. JP.
And Opie, Jay, how's your week been?
It's been good, man. We got the last week of school next week for us, and doesn't mean it gets any less stressful for me. I got a couple games next week, obviously. So we're in the midst of basketball season, which is huge up here in Indiana, if some of y'all don't know. But it's exciting times, and just looking forward to maybe spend holidays with some family, hopefully in a couple weeks. How about you?
That's good. No, I'm excited. I just finished up classes, my first set of master's classes here.
Hey.
So that's good. Finished my highest GPA in a semester ever. So I
Yes,
know that doesn't say much for me, but hey, it would be graduating with honors. So pretty pumped about that.
proud
Um,
of you.
Thank you. And then obviously still just stressed from work. Finished up a 12-hour day today, 12 and a half hour day today with a dub over Tarleton State's women's basketball team. So good to see our girls open up the season with a dub on our home floor and defend the Navy. So love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Ready for basketball season to get into full swing with 3 home games and 3 nights next week. So love
Woo.
it. Gonna be a
Yeah.
lot of hours at work, but hey, we
Oh,
love
sure.
it.
It'll be a lot of fun. Um, so today, guys, we're obviously, unfortunately, Notre Dame and Oklahoma do not play this weekend. Oklahoma was supposed to play Saturday, but West Virginia has too many COVID issues, which marks the second time that the OU West Virginia game has been canceled because it was canceled not last week, but the week before last week, and then we played Baylor last week, and thank God we did
I was
because if we
gonna say,
had,
good thing y'all got that game in.
yeah, because if we hadn't, we would have either had to watch Texas and Kansas play and see the winner of that, or if they didn't play, then we would have gotten in. But because we played and we beat Baylor, we were in regardless. So I
So
think
was
there's a
that because
silver lining.
you had enough games, like kind of like Ohio State, how they have enough games to go play in the Big Ten championship, or is that just because
Right.
you had the better record?
Well, no, it's because we had the better record,
Oh,
So
okay. I just
I'm not
wanted to make sure you guys had
I'm
enough
not
games to
gonna
play in
name
your
names
conference
out here.
championship game.
Right. I'm not gonna name names out here, but we got some teams out here playing half a season.
I mean, I'll name names.
Yeah. um, but yeah, it just is what it is. But I think that some fans would like to see us play, especially because the offense didn't look too sharp against Baylor, and so I think they want another tune-up. But end of the day, for me, let's just get healthy. I think it's good to have an extra week to plan for Iowa State, especially knowing they beat us earlier in the year, knowing they're playing pretty well right now. They're the seventh ranked team in the country, and we have the chance to right our wrongs when it comes to them and on the biggest stage. And we've been there 6 times in a row,
Yeah.
marking in fact. And this is their first one since ever, really. I think I'm not that this is their first one ever, but it's their first one in a very long time. So they're going to be the new ones to the party, regardless of if they're ranked higher than us or have a better record than us right now. It's not going to mean much once we turn those lights on. So
True.
I'm sure Lincoln Riley have his boys ready. Alex Grinch will have his boys ready, and I'm excited to see them go. Um,
Beamer will not.
I know, yeah, we
But that's great for him though.
it was a Shane Beamer, which we're happy for him, right? And I think South Carolina is going to get a huge, huge boost to that program with what he's bringing. Ooh, ooh, got a call, huh?
No FaceTime call. I will respond to that with a text.
Okay.
uh,
Um, but yeah, man, like they're gonna do a lot with him as the head coach, and it just shows what kind of guy he is that he's gonna finish out the championship game with at OU. And some South Carolina fans, I guess, didn't like that, but it's just who he is, and he's authentic, right? And
yeah.
that's what he's gonna bring to the program is loyalty. And our players love him over here. He said they had like 300 texts when he landed off the plane and everything. So that just goes to show how many people love him.
Good though.
But yeah, guys, we're like I said, we're gonna dive into conference championship games a little bit. We'll talk about the Ohio State University and everything that went with that, unfortunately, and for the rest of the country. And yeah, we'll get going here. First off, though, I have to do it. Seems like I've done it every week the last couple of weeks. Y'all know I'm a big Baker stan, okay? And sometimes I'm gonna bring conversations, right, that we have on my account in the underscore sooner. I'm gonna bring it here because I want to get Opie's thoughts, and really I want to get your thoughts, which you guys can email, DM us, whatever. So I said something earlier today that I felt like was not too far fetched, and apparently one of our friends did, and another one of my friends didn't think it was far fetched, but he just wouldn't understand. So we are having a conversation. So basically,
Is
here's
this
what
the
my
friend that I'm assuming would think it was far fetched?
yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're gonna have him on the show because he's delusional. Anyways, um,
Right?
what I said was, matter of fact, let me pull it up so I can say it word for word. Right? I don't want to paraphrase here. Okay. So I said, listen, because here's the context. Nick Wright apparently had said Baker Mayfield is better than Josh Allen, which I actually don't agree with. I think as of right now, I think Josh Allen is the better quarterback. I don't have a problem saying that because believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, I can be objective. Right. So I think Josh Allen's a better quarterback. So here's what I said though. I said, listen, Josh Allen may end up having the most upside of the 2018 quarterback class. Yes, even more than Lamar, because Josh has shown more consistency in the passing game thus far. But no other quarterback could have gone into Cleveland and do what Baker is doing. They would have been ruined. That's what I said. Okay. Our friend says no QB could have done in Cleveland what Baker is doing. Did you really just say that? Misunderstanding what I said. What I'm not saying is if you insert Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson into Cleveland this year,
Yeah.
that they didn't succeed. I'm saying if you go back to 2018, right,
Yeah.
and we go back to Lamar Jackson from 2018 and Josh Allen from 2018, and you put them in the situation Cleveland was in then, I don't think that they would have succeeded. I think that they would have both been able or been relegated to the bench, not because of their talent, but because of everything going on around them.
That's fair.
My take is both of them were looked at as project quarterbacks at the time. Am I correct in saying that?
I think you're half correct with that.
When
I
they were
think
coming
Josh Allen was viewed as more of a project quarterback than Lamar was.
but Lamar was he why was he not starting day one then? Like they didn't think that he was they didn't think that he was a start day one quarterback. He got
Behind who? He was behind Flacco, right?
yeah, he was behind Flacco and they said they're gonna eat some, which is I'm not saying that's a
That
bad.
debate of is Joe Flacco elite or not? Like at
That's
that point,
I'm not talking about it. That's what I'm talking about though, right? I'm just talking about whether he was
I'm pulling my dinner out of the oven.
go ahead.
You keep going. I'll hear you from the kitchen.
So and here's what I'll tell Opie guys and when he gets back in a second. And here's what I'm gonna tell you. What I'm saying is both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson had not proven they could consistently throw the ball. And in the NFL, you need to be accurate or at least above average accurate to win games, right? And so a lot of people can say, well, what about Baker? Baker hasn't been as accurate like, and I'm not going to argue that right now. But coming out of college, Baker was the most accurate quarterback in that draft, right? And he was seen to have the best intangibles and leadership skills. And it's not that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson didn't have intangibles or leadership skills. It's not what I'm saying. However, because Baker was more ready than they were at the time, he was able to go into Cleveland and he had a good rookie. This is what makes me mad. Like, I feel like people watch the mainstream media and they don't think for themselves because for whatever reason, the media over here, like you can hear all the time, they're like, oh, Baker had an okay rookie year or he had a bad rookie year. He broke the rookie touchdown record. What are we talking about? And the Browns won 7 games when they had just won one the year before. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
But he
But
had
I think part of what you were going with just going back a second, with the like leadership and being like kind of pro ready. I
Mhm.
think that has a lot to do with the system that Baker played in.
That's fine. I don't have
Like
an issue.
if you look at Lamar, he was Louisville's offense. Like it was Lamar Jackson
Yeah,
and 10 other guys.
yeah,
It wasn't an offense. It was one man and 10 other people.
yeah. I don't, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but that doesn't mean that he's accurate as a quarterback. And that
Right.
was the
No. And then Josh Allen's offense out in Wyoming was Josh Allen, and I'm going to throw it 76 yards down the field.
yeah,
And if I hit somebody, I hit somebody. If
yeah,
not, oh well.
yes. Yeah, but no, that's fine. And
Right.
yes, Baker at Lincoln Riley, like he was at Oklahoma with other talent, but he still won the Heisman. He still produced, like right. But regardless of any of that, what I'm saying is both of them had a knock on them as accurate passers, which is true. Like they were not that accurate in college, and that's okay. Lamar obviously was a beast, but they were
Right.
not that accurate, and that's just true. Regardless of where they were not accurate, and so because of that, they were said, okay, these players could potentially be good, but they're going to need some time. They're going to need some continuity, and they're
Right.
going to need some consistency. So what I said was, if they had gotten drafted to Cleveland, and keep in mind, Baker's on his fourth head coach, third offensive coordinator, and third offensive system in 3 years, correct? Okay. You cannot put a project quarterback like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were looked at the time as being into that system. The
Yeah.
reason Lamar and Josh Allen are thriving right now are yes because they put in the work. I'm not taking that from them. They've put in the work, but additionally, they both were drafted to franchises that have had the same head coach, the same offensive coordinator, and the same quarterback coach for them all 3 years, and have put systems around them that they have learned, right,
Yeah.
and been able to actually function in. Well, Lamar Jackson specifically, because they tailored that system so that he could so that he could perform well. Yes, he had an MVP year. Don't get me wrong, but that system is specifically tailored because using his athleticism, which is fine. Like that's what you want to do. You
Yeah.
want to accentuate your quarterback's strengths. But then what happened in the playoffs the last 2 years? Last year when they were 14-2, it's supposed to roll to the Super Bowl. What happened? Lamar didn't show up. They took away the run. He couldn't pass. So I'm just confused on why everybody thinks that is not everybody. Sorry, Chris specifically, and then our buddy Johnny. We talked about it when we had to we John Ornder.
Oh, yeah.
We just were talking about it, and they were just like, you can't say that Josh or Lamar wouldn't have panned out. And I know I can't say that for a fact, but I think there is data pointing to if you have quarterbacks that have inconsistency or need to work on something a lot,
Yeah.
and you put them in a chaotic situation, 9 times out of 10 they don't pan out, and that's not their fault. It
Right.
was going to be the system's fault. But last thing I'll say, and I'll let you get your word in. Last thing,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
The thing that pisses me off the most about this whole conversation is we're talking about the Cleveland Browns being 9-3 right now, best since '94. And yes, Kevin Stefanski has a lot to do with that.
I was saying,
Yes,
neither of us were alive the last time the Cleveland Browns were 9-3.
right,
The last time they had a winning record.
'94, right. So yes, Nick Chubb, yes, Kevin Stefanski, yes, Kareem Hunt, yes, the offensive. But to act like Baker doesn't have anything to do with that, one is asinine, but two, we're talking about the Cleveland Browns being 9-3.
Right.
When they drafted Baker Mayfield, they were 1-31. They were looked at as literally the butt of the NFL. Honestly, the butt of all of sports franchises.
Yeah.
And now everybody wants to act like Cleveland was the best place to play, and they all of a sudden have had the best organization. And they were that Baker's had continuity. And he's in his third year. He should be doing fine by now. Like that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what makes me mad because I'm like, so we're just gonna skip over 4 head coaches, 3 offensive coordinators, 3 new systems, and being part of one of the craziest franchises in modern sports history.
Right.
We're just gonna skip over that like it doesn't matter. And like being drafted to the Ravens, who are historically known for being an amazing franchise, and the Bills, who again haven't been great all the time, but at least are known for being a pretty good franchise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're gonna ignore that. Like that doesn't matter. That's what makes me mad. Everybody's like, oh, Cleveland, Cleveland, Cleveland. Now you want to be on Cleveland. And now you think Cleveland's good. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So my counter argument to you is Baker won the Heisman. That means he is the best player in college football, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't think you can really view him as a quote unquote project quarterback.
No, I don't. I
Okay.
don't.
Okay. So the way I understood it, how you were saying it was that all three of them, Lamar, Josh, and Baker, were all project quarterbacks when they were drafted.
No, Baker was not. Those two. That's why I said those two
clear up.
were succeeded.
So I was gonna say, if you won the Heisman and you're the best player in college in college, you shouldn't be a project quarterback.
No, correct. And
I know he had his knocks on accuracy, right? In his Baker.
no, he was one of the most accurate college quarterbacks in history.
Oh, okay.
That was his calling card. But that's what I'm saying. Like he went into his rookie year and threw 27 touchdowns, which he broke. That was Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson that held that record. That's not shabby, and he did it in 12 games, mind you. Okay, so like that happened right after, and then he had the worst. Literally, people are saying this. What was one of the worst head coaches in NFL history in Freddie Kitchens. That's what NFL players are saying. Not me. That's what they're saying. And so you go from that to last year. Again, this is his third year. This is why they're acting like he's been in the league 5 years. Last year was his second year. And he had one of the worst quarterbacks in history who he worked with directly, right? As his offensive coordinator, and who called the plays, right?
Right.
No wonder he regressed. And yes, like everybody propped the Browns up. Everybody wanted Baker to do these big things. He had a bunch of progressive commercials. I think that's why the backlash has been so swift. It has nothing to do with real facts and real statistics and whether Baker is actually good or not. People are just pissed off because he got all these commercials and because he was propped up. And then he had a pretty bad year. And it was a terrible year, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the worst year ever. Like it was 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, which again isn't good, but it's not like he threw for 10 touchdowns and 20 interceptions or something like that and got benched. Like
he'll probably take Baker on the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So again,
I'm gonna throw that out there.
Again, my argument is Baker survived through that, got through it into his third year with a new head coach again, a new system again in a pandemic year. Okay, didn't have the best 4 to 5 weeks, which again was probably 2019 because there was barely any offseason, right? He had a Zoom call to figure out a new offensive system. Are you kidding me? Like that's not the same thing. No preseason. And then he has the first 4 to 5 weeks to really get. Huh?
I said I'll send you a PDF of the playbook. You can look it over there and Zoom me if you have a question.
Right. So he has the first 5 weeks to get acquainted, right, with the system. And yes, he has Nick Chubb. Yes, he has OBJ. Which again, I think OBJ I think he did lock on to OBJ, and I think that was kind of a hinder in his development. As much as that is crazy and sucks to say, I think that happened. And sure, if that's on Baker, that's on Baker. But it is what it is. So
I think right now, Kareem and Nick Chubb are huge assets to help Baker.
Yes.
The running game opens up the passing game. And I know you're fine with saying that. You're not going to be one that says, no, like this entire offense runs through Baker.
No, but it's not designed to. That's another thing. Like,
I know.
It's not, and that's what makes me mad. It like because people are like talking over it and they don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's the way the offense is supposed to be. The way the offense was run with Kirk Cousins, the way it's run in San Francisco, the West Coast style of offense, the way it was run with John Elway when he was older with Terrell Davis, the way Russell Wilson was literally his first 3 years in the league, run heavy, and they had a pretty good defense, which Cleveland Browns defense is not that good. It's like average, maybe to below average.
Yeah.
Okay, had a run first because they had a good running game, decent defense, or at least good defense, okay? And then the quarterback made plays when he needed to. That was the late John Elway Broncos that won a couple of Super Bowls. That was the 49ers last year, right? So it's like Baker is being put into the system that actually works for him, and people are saying like, oh, they don't trust him. And I'm like, I don't think it's that they don't trust him. I think that it's the way that the system is supposed to work, and you have two top 10 running backs, why would you not run?
I would
And
say
you have
utilizing key pieces in your offense is a huge thing.
that is, and I'm fine with saying Baker benefits from that. Of course he does. Why wouldn't he want to? Troy Aikman benefited from
Emmett Smith.
Emmett Smith being his running back. Like, and they won 3 Super Bowls. People don't talk about that, right? Like,
Right.
I don't. He cares about winning. He doesn't care about the stats, and that's who Baker is, or whatever. But what I'm saying is, like, people are acting like he's had a terrible. Like, he has 21 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And again, like I was saying, he's in his third year in like pandemic. With everything going on, learning a new offense,
Yeah.
and he's in the second half of the season. He's progressed literally every week, and he's gotten better every week. And they said, "Oh, can you do it against a good team?" Then he goes out and destroys the Titans and throws for 4 touchdowns, right? And then now we're going to see if he can do it again. I'm fine with saying like, let's keep it consistent, because that is a knock on him for me, is he's been inconsistent. But let's see him do it against the Ravens, right? We'll see what happens. But I just get mad when people act like he's trash or garbage. And I'm like, I know that that's not true. He's been through a lot,
Yeah.
and he's been asked to endure a lot, right? And I think that he was the perfect guy, intangibles wise, and because he was ready. He regressed, yes, but he was so far enough ahead coming out of Oklahoma, and then had that good rookie year, that he did regress pretty badly. But now he's being able to come back up to that level with good coaching and working on his footwork. And now we're seeing him continue to progress again, right? That's what we're starting to see. What I was saying is, if Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen of 2018, when they first got there, if they had been drafted to Cleveland and they're in the same situation, can you imagine their second year with that type of coach?
Yeah.
They would have regressed, and then they wouldn't have been on the field. And it would have had nothing to do with them,
True.
but it would have had more to do with the coach that was utilizing them, right? And like what they're doing. They were put in great situations to continue to succeed, which all young quarterbacks need. And I'm not envious of them. Like that is great for them. And that is a piece of why they succeeded. Just like a piece of why Baker succeeded is because this year they put in pieces to have a great offensive line to block for him, and to be great help their running game as well. And so the running game also helps him. Why is it a crime to help your quarterback? Like that's the crazy thing to me, is like everybody's like, oh, well, do you want him to do it on his own? Like I'm not trying to say he's gonna carry the team. Like, and I get it, he's the number one quarterback, so that's what people think. But for me, and I know we talked about this in a minute, so I'll get off of it.
Can we send this clip, like this very segment, to the Chicago Bears front office, please? Just investing in your offense.
Yes. Well, and that's what I mean, right? Like even with Mitch, like
They
you
put nobody around him besides for
you,
Allen Robinson.
you gotta help. You gotta help even a little bit. But my thing is too, when people have talked to me about Mitch and Baker, I'm like, I get the Mitch part, but Mitch has also been in the same system for 3 years. He's had the same head coach and offensive coordinator. So for me, he has way less of an excuse, right? But what I'm saying ultimately is we're continuing to see Baker progress. And I think that my opinion is he has the elite, he has the upside to be a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. I think Josh Allen has the upside to be a top 5 quarterback because
I do think Josh Allen has the upside to be better than Baker.
yes,
But
yes,
I
I
think
do.
I think like you were saying, Baker got drafted into a situation that he has managed better than probably either of the other two would, which
And
I
that,
will
that's
agree with you on.
all. That's all I was saying, bro. Like, because I think Josh Allen has more upside than Baker. He's 6'5". He's got a cannon, and Baker has a cannon for an arm too. Like that's part of why he's drafted number one, because he has a rocket arm. But Josh Allen's arm is bigger. He's also 6'5" and can see. Oh, like Baker's height kind of hampers him a little bit at times.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's 6'5", and he can freaking run. He can run the ball. Like that's why I said that he has more upside than Lamar Jackson, because Josh Allen has thrown for over 300 yards like 4 times this year and 4 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson hasn't done that.
Did you listen to Josh Allen's interview with Pat McAfee a couple weeks ago?
Mm-mm.
It was probably last week. It's good. Like, just the way he kind of broke down like the struggles he had when he came into the league, and like how they corrected it and how his whole game has changed. it was pretty interesting to listen
And
to. So if you go back and listen to it was sometime last week in Pat McAfee's podcast, and it was really good.
that is case in point, Opie and listeners, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's talking about the culture the Bills put around him and what they taught him, and that took 3 years, right? And now he's on the cusp of it, right? And he's
I
balling.
think he got drafted by the Bills at the perfect time. Like
Yeah,
they were finally starting to get good again.
yeah.
There was finally pieces falling into place around them. Brady
Absolutely.
left. Like
Absolutely.
there's finally a chance for the Bills to be relevant again in a division that has been dominated by the New England Patriots for so long.
Yeah, and he is part of that. And again, all I'm saying is he had continuity.
Yeah.
And he needed it, and I think he would admit that himself. Because again, if he had chaos, what was he going to learn, right? Baker didn't need as much because he had Lincoln Riley. He like everybody loves Lincoln Riley in the NFL. They know we're about to have 3 starting quarterbacks from Oklahoma, like Jalen, Kyler, and Baker. They know what they get out of an Oklahoma quarterback recently. So people were not fearful of that, right? But it's like, what are you going to get out of Josh Allen and Lamar coming from Louisville, Wyoming? Because they had to carry their team and they got by on less coaching. So it's like that's all it was, bro. And okay, what the last point I was going to make that I got sidetracked off of.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Baker was the perfect pick for Cleveland, right? The perfect number 1 pick for Cleveland. Everybody's like, oh, he was a number 1 pick. He was a number 1 pick. And I get that. And I'm not saying that he wasn't deserving being a number 1 pick, but everyone always even said if that draft had a clear cut like number 1 pick, there's a chance Baker maybe wouldn't have been taken. But for them, it was really between him and Sam Darnold. Josh Allen, his accuracy issues and inconsistency in Wyoming took him out of the running. Lamar Jackson wasn't even considered. Josh Rosen they didn't even know if he didn't like to play football. We know where Josh Rosen is now. Sam Darnold, he was looked at.
Where is Josh Rosen? To be honest, I have no idea where he is.
Somewhere. I don't know what team he's on. Miami.
Okay. He's just not playing.
He's not playing. You had Sam Darnold, who again has had continuity with the Jets, but Adam Gase has been kind of crazy, right? So Sam Darnold, the knock on him was they didn't know if he was going to be not turnover prone because he turned the ball over a lot at USC at the end of the day. So really what happened was Baker was really proven to be the only surefire pick out of all of those quarterbacks that you knew was probably most likely going to pan out. And he had leadership intangibles that said he could go anywhere and succeed. And he was the only one that said he wanted to go to Cleveland. He said, if anybody can turn that franchise around, it's me.
Yeah.
And look where we're at in year 3. And he can't do it alone, but he's part of it. He's 9-3. His teammates freaking love him. Like the way he celebrates touchdowns is different than any quarterback ever. And they love him for it. So like he was the perfect segue for Cleveland. And I've always said this, if Cleveland only ever goes to multiple playoff appearances and Baker makes like 2 or 3 Pro Bowls in his career, that was worthy of them drafting him at number 1. Because Cleveland, at the end of the day, has not had a quarterback since they've been back in Cleveland in 99. Yeah. They haven't had one. They've had that long list, right? That long list. And finally, if they get somebody that can take them to the playoffs and maybe make a couple Pro Bowls, that is worthy for Cleveland. That's what I'm saying. And I get, don't hold the standard low. If that's the floor, they would take that. The way the Browns franchise has been, they would take that. So that is my spiel. I just don't understand why that got taken so off kilter, or like I was crazy for saying that. Yeah. Like people can't use their minds and see visibly, this makes sense. I'm not like I'm a Baker stan, but I feel like I'm very reasonable. I will call Baker out when he needs to be called out, but I just get mad when people literally don't take anything else into account and act like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But What you gaffing at over there?
So Josh Rosen, 10th overall pick in 2018, right? Where do you think he is today? Like,
Um,
just take a guess.
on the street.
He is a practice squad quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
He's a practice squad. You're joking.
Practice squad. He's not even on their depth chart. He is a practice squad quarterback.
And some people really wanted him to be drafted ahead of Baker, ahead of Josh. Actually, he was he drafted ahead of Josh? Or no, was Josh drafted ahead of him?
I don't know. Let's see. 2018 NFL draft. There was Baker, and then
Hmm.
Josh Allen was 7, and then
Josh
Josh
Allen.
Rosen was 10.
Yeah.
The Also Sam Darnold was 3.
Yep.
The first 10 in that draft are just unreal. So you have Baker, you have Saquon, Sam Darnold, Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, or Bradley Chubb, sorry, Quentin Nelson, Josh Allen, Roquan Smith, Mike McGlinchey, Josh Rosen.
Literally all on except for Josh Rosen, most of those guys look like they're going to be in the league for a little bit.
Yeah, and then Minka Fitzpatrick and Vita Vea right behind them.
Mhm.
Like, just stacked. That first round was so good.
Yeah.
But
So, anyways, that's all. Like, I just wanted to see really if you thought I was really being crazy with that take because I don't feel like that's a crazy take to say.
see, have you noticed in our group chat, whenever the Baker debates start popping off, I just disappear. I do not associate with the Baker debates because I let you take that, and I know it's going to be you and Chris going back and forth for 2 hours of y'all just running y'all's mouths. And whenever it's done, I'll pop in. I said, hey, can I have the Cliff Notes summary of that? Because I don't want to read 364 text messages that I missed. And usually it is Chris telling me that you are being delusional, and then you tell me that Chris is being delusional. So I settle in the middle that neither of you can agree on anything, which is typical.
I can agree with him. He can't agree with me. Like I can see his point. I can sometimes see his points.
Anybody. I didn't.
No, I know. I'm just saying. He'll say anything. He'll say anything.
But part of it is strictly to get under your skin.
Oh, I know.
And it works every time.
I know. It's fine.
Every time.
All right, conference championships.
Anyways, now that we spent 30 minutes on that.
Yeah. Hey, it was a good segue intro. 30 minutes into the show.
Pretty good discussion.
Into the Irish Center for specifically.
It was
All right. So
literally 30 minutes on the dot.
let's dive into Notre Dame, Clemson.
It's already happened once. I think you know who the better team is.
Oh.
Oh. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Hey.
It's football. Anything can happen on any given night. And
twice.
Like we said all along, I don't think that Trevor Lawrence made that big of a difference being out in the Clemson game compared to DJ being in as a true freshman quarterback throwing for 400 yards. But they do have several of those missing starters on defense back and healthy now.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting key to see how much of an impact they play. But also, Ian Book is playing the best football probably of his life currently. And I think as far as I can remember, he is still in the midst of a Notre Dame record for most consecutive passes without an interception. He is now the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history. He more than likely, he can still come back for another year because everybody was granted another year of eligibility. But anyways, more than likely finishes with a perfect record at home in Notre Dame Stadium. Never lost a game. Lost to this point just 3 games in his college career.
Mm.
It's been a heck of a ride for 12, and I know I've been heavily critical of him throughout our podcast, and I've been the first to say that I was wrong, and I will say it again. To this point this year, I was wrong, and Ian Book has impressed us all mightily, and it's going to take another outstanding performance from him in Clemson round 2 for another upset, quote unquote, because I know we're still the underdogs in this fight, even though Notre Dame knocked off Clemson earlier in the year in double overtime. But it will take another heck of a performance from Ian Book, and it will take an outstanding running game effort. And our defense needs to play as well as they've played all year to keep us in this game. So that is my 30 to 45 second analysis of Notre Dame Clemson round 2.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's going to be a good game again. Like I said, it's hard to beat a team, especially the top 3 team twice.
Right. I mean, we know that going through our basketball. Like,
Yeah.
you can beat a team in your conference once, and now Notre Dame is in that conference, by the way. But it's really tough to do it a second time.
I need y'all to understand something. So the conference that the school that Opie and I went to has this team named Indiana Wesleyan, who, by all intents and purposes, like their NAIA school, like their campus isn't huge per se. Like it's still a small college campus, but they're like I was just talking to somebody from IWU today. Their reach is so much farther than NAIA. Okay, and here's why. What NAIA school do you know that has a huge banner in a major city airport? Okay, they have a huge banner that says "Come to IWU" in the Indianapolis International Airport. Not only that, what NAIA school do you know? Okay, that has their own, literally their own replay at a professional teams game.
That's what I was going with.
Colts.
That was the first one.
Colts.
I think they're the Pacers too.
Will it surprise me?
I think they are.
Will it surprise me? Literally, Lucas Oil. And they go, this replay is brought to you by Indiana Wesleyan University. I was like, really? So that's what we gotta do with. And they just lollygagging around our conference, just blowing everybody out. And let me explain something to you. Okay. The Crossroads League is the best basketball league in America for small college basketball. Okay. Where we went. Now, keep that in mind. The Crossroads League puts like 4 to 5 teams in the NAIA tournament every year. That's unheard of. Okay.
Out of a 32 team tournament.
Out of a 32 team tournament. And it's hard because most years when me and Opie were there, like our main years, unfortunately, our sophomore year, we really should have finished like 4th and gone to the NAIA tournament, but that's another time. I don't want to talk about that year.
Another story.
But our other 2 years, we weren't great as far as it comes in the league. We finished like 7th and 8th, I think, respectively. But literally, if we had been in any other league, we probably would have finished top 4 at least. Or top 3, right? And so that's how tough that league is. So honestly, you think of the Big 12 or ACC basketball wise, right? Think of that.
And then we were still a couple of games away from being top half of the conference.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we were just scraping the barrel.
Yeah.
Of barely getting by. Like we were still competitive even in our down years. But anyway,
you can lose any and it eats itself up because you can lose at any point. It doesn't matter if you're a top team. Well, sometimes unless you're IWU, which is what I'm talking about. But it didn't matter if you're number 2, right, 3, 4. You could lose to. I remember in the tournament, the 7 seed that year beat the number 2 seed, and everybody was like, "Dang!" But it happens, like in the conference tournament. So let me explain this. Indiana Wesleyan, who is, I think, if they're not number 1 right now, they should be, but they're top 3 in the NAIA this year. They just beat their crosstown rival Taylor, who's in our conference, right? And again, who's normally pretty good. They beat them by 65 points. 65. They beat them like they were there's this little school we used to play called Great Lakes Christian. That's like, you know, just think of the typical like Christian Bible college, just like that. And so they didn't really have that much talent. They're really starting their basketball program. I'm just being real. Okay.
I,
They're starting the
I'll make
basketball
a comment.
program. We smacked them by 40. I think I will play them one year, smacked them by like 70. And so the fact that they beat a conference opponent
A respectable conference opponent.
and their rival by 65 is unbelievable.
Did Did you see Kyle Mangus's stat line from the week?
I don't even want to know.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I saw their like tweet about it. He won NAI National Player of the Week. Averaged 29.5 points per week or points per game. Missed 4 shots all week.
Of course he did.
The man averaged almost 30 points and missed 4 shots on the week.
Of course he did.
It's just unreal.
This is a guy who's going to score 3,000 points in college, ladies and gentlemen. He's already not even halfway through his senior year, the leading scorer in Indiana Wesleyan University history.
Yeah. Like, I know this is a college football podcast, but you and I are both very passionate about college basketball as well, and especially small college basketball. And my goodness, that team
they're stacked.
I'm going to say the best at that level that I've ever seen.
This is the best team I've always ever had.
Yeah, this is the best team I've ever seen at this level. Like, there are years, or like every year, like an NAI or D3 will beat a D1. This is a year that Wesleyan could do it and legitimately kind of blow somebody out. Like Kansas State lost by 12 points to a D2 the other night.
Yeah.
Like, Wesleyan could play somebody and legit win by 20.
We should schedule IUPUI. I want to see it. I want to see it.
Imagine the Crossroads Classic with like just the entire state of Indiana. Or even just the 4 teams that are in it, IUPUI, IPFW, and then Wesleyan. Maybe throw Marion or Bethel in there just for good measure for another NAI school. Just imagine what could happen.
Unbelievable. But yeah, sorry for going off tangent about college basketball, but that's just we just need to explain to y'all because it's ridiculous. But I digress. So moving on to finish my point though, because the reason we brought that up, it's hard to be a team twice, right?
Oh yeah. I was like, how did we get on that topic? And then
yeah, so
I started it. This is
I think that you guys are gonna have a good chance, right? Like I said, if Notre Dame will be Clemson again, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be not in the playoff, but like favored to maybe be number one, jump up number one, right? And I don't know if they're gonna make you let you jump in or not, but and I think you guys have set yourself up well enough that if you lose and it's a close game, that you might still slide into that number 4 spot. And I think you should. Now, here's what's gonna happen for me. If they put in Ohio State and leave you out on a 1 loss, I will personally, along with you, raise hell.
Boy,
there's no way.
That
better not happen. That's all I'm about to say. That's all I gotta say about it. That better not happen.
Do I want a little rant?
I'm about to go down to the NCAA office anyway because they won't free my boy Trajan Bridges. Okay, Trajan Bridges is a wide receiver at Oklahoma University who got in trouble last year. Huh?
At where?
At wide receiver U. You didn't know? No, that's Bama.
I'll Oklahoma University. It kind of threw me off.
Huh?
I said you said Oklahoma University. It kind of threw me off.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about little brother. I wasn't talking about Oklahoma State.
I didn't say.
Sorry. That's the answer. So listen, what happened basically was, Ramondre Stevenson and Ronnie Perkins, who we got back already this year, they have already served their sentences. So they're supposed to be a 6-game suspension. Yeah. Trajan is now about to be at 10 games. He still hasn't been released. So we don't know what's going on. And they haven't been released to us. I don't know if he failed another test, but it doesn't seem like that because he's saying this is some BS. His dad's saying this is some BS. The coaches are saying, what are we doing here, NCAA? So I'm confused. I've even said, going as far as to say, I'm going to drive down because, the headquarters is downtown Indy and
Yep.
just make a poster and say, hey, free aid. I might do that at some point. We'll see. But moving on to Oklahoma.
Twitter will love it.
Yes, they will. Moving
All right.
on to Oklahoma.
We're going to backtrack for a second.
Hold on, reverse.
The Ohio State thing, man, it's been on my mind all week. It's been on my mind all week. Like, how are you going to, as a conference, make a rule that says you have to play 6 games? Which, fine, you have to play 6 games.
Yeah.
But going into this, you can't mess up. Like, you can't have more than 1 game canceled.
Right.
Like, sure, it's not their fault, but it was against Illinois when they had the positive tests. So, granted, the game that would cost them, in a sense, isn't their fault.
Yeah.
But it was preventable along the way. Anyways, how are you going to make this rule? And then just because it's Ohio State, go back on it. I guarantee if it's Indiana or Northwestern, who's in the same spot of, oh, like, we're competing for a Big Ten championship here, but we're only at 5 games because Purdue canceled the game with us this weekend because they have too many positive cases.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the Big Ten does not go, oh, no, Indiana, you can still go to the Big Ten title game with your 5 games. Yeah. Which I 100% get it from the Big Ten standpoint of, if you're in the Big Ten title game, you'll win it, which will look better because you have your conference title and your conference championship. So that'll give you a better resume for the college football playoff, which brings in more revenue for the conference. So everybody makes more money because Ohio State is in the playoff. But at the same point, don't make your stupid rules if you're not going to follow your own stupid rules. Like,
are they even ranked, bro?
Are
they even ranked?
Who?
Northwestern. Are they like 20th?
They're probably 20th or something. I
Unbelievable.
couldn't tell you.
That's almost as bad as Clemson getting in the ACC championship game and play Virginia last year. Like, Virginia, really? The conference championship game against Virginia.
I was gonna say, it's the two sides of the ACC are just whack right now. Which I'm glad this year it's just one big division. But anyways, it would still be probably Notre Dame and Clemson, just on the way things would shake out. But nonetheless, like, it just drives me nuts. Like, I've talked with Ohio State fans about it, and one of them, I'm not going to name names because you don't know them actually, but said Michigan canceled the game with us because they were scared to play us. I was like,
it might have been.
I'd take it, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But at the same point, also on a Michigan side note, how are they talking about extending Harbaugh?
Huh?
I have seen several things that say they might extend his contract. Like, you're going to give this man a 1-win season and you're going to give him more money to stay with you and continue to not win the Big Ten? For a blue blood program? No, thank you. Hard pass. Okay. Anyways, my little rant is over.
Hey, we all have one from time to time. Sometimes I have 3 on the same podcast.
I think that's my first, like, legitimate rant in a while.
I'm normally the one that rants.
I was gonna say, I normally stay pretty quiet on here.
Yeah. But okay, moving on to Oklahoma, Iowa State. Again, like I said earlier, it's a revenge game, man. And we're gonna have to bring in an offense better than we looked against Baylor and for 2 quarters against Oklahoma State. We
like
looked
brother?
Huh?
Little brother?
Right. Mm-hmm. Um, we look stagnant. Our offensive line did not look great. I don't know what's going on, but they got to get it figured out. They should be playing better by now. Um, Running game was bad against Baylor. Passing game was just okay. Spencer seems to have, I don't want to say regress, but like he just didn't make the best decisions last week. Um, so I'm hoping that we'll take a step up. And then Lincoln even admitted he didn't have his best coaching game. They we're dealing with COVID and just trying to get to the game to play it, and we'll take the dub, right? And so we'll see, right? But that's what's going to have to happen for us to be Iowa State. Iowa State's really good this year. The only blemish, right, that everybody's looking at is Louisiana, who Iowa State's proven to be a good team, but I think if they played right now, Iowa State probably beat them by 20.
Yeah.
And
It's early season football. Like anything can happen.
COVID, right? Like it is what.
Notre Dame beat Louisville by 6 in a 12-7 game or something like that. It was some ridiculously low scoring game early in the year.
Yeah, and Iowa State lost to Oklahoma State. Okay, so like mutual opponent, we creamed Oklahoma State. So you can look at it and be like, oh, a rematch is going to be Oklahoma all day, and we're even favored. But I know that Lincoln Riley's telling them we're not overlooking them. We need to go in and take the reins. And why I think we would be more favored, even with the way our offenses looked, is because of the emergence of our defense.
Yeah.
It's legit now, man. Like, and I'm not saying it's not. I won't say it's elite, but it's pretty good. We're trying to get to elite. Right now, we're pretty good, and being there after what we saw 2 years ago is amazing.
Yeah.
And we're really happy. So, and I mean, we have an elite defensive line, and I that is factual, and I love that. We just need to get a little bit better in the secondary, and I think we will. But anyways, we're gonna have to get after Brock Purdy. We're gonna have to contain Brees Hall, who's one of the best running backs in the nation. Your boy that you love.
I say I love him. Like
Yeah,
that is my guy in the Big 12.
yeah. We're gonna have to contain him, man. And I think we've done pretty good against the run all year. So I think we're gonna probably try to make Brock Purdy throw, which is gonna be a tough task too because he's been balling out a little bit of late. We just got to get pressure on him. At the end of the day, got to turn them over. And Iowa State's defense is average. They're not too good, but they don't give up a lot of big plays.
Yeah.
So Spencer again has to take what we give them or what they give us. And our running game is better than it was the last time we played them, which hopefully should help. From Andre can get his head out of his butt because last week I don't know what he was doing, loafing around like um, Marcus Dupree in the Fiesta Bowl in 1986. And that, if you want to hear more about that, go watch the 30 for 30 best that never was. If you don't know who Marcus Dupree is, but again, I think that we have a good shot. I think it's gonna be a good game. I think it can either be a close Iowa State win. Iowa State could win by 10, or I think it could be a close Oklahoma win, or Oklahoma could win by 20. That's the ceiling. I think we have more of a penchant to blow them out than they would to blow us out. That's not their MO. The only team they really blew out this year was Kansas and Kansas State, which Kansas State is more impressive than Kansas per se. But Kansas State is not the team that they were at the beginning of the year at all. They lost a bunch of people. They lost their starting quarterback after like a week or two after they played us, which has made them look a lot more pedestrian on offense than they were. We still have an excuse to have lost to them, but again, it's not the same Kansas State that beat us. I will say that because everybody's like, "Oh, you lost Kansas State. Look at what they're doing." That's not the same team. It's not. But regardless, I'm excited about it. I'm excited that it's at 11 a.m. Even though people hate being that early, but really, I'd love to get it over with and then watch the rest of the day. Like I like night games sometimes, but we've had a ton this year, and sometimes I like.
At night every week this year.
Yeah, it just takes forever, bro. Like you're waiting the whole day, and sometimes you like that. At least maybe like I know they like that for tailgating, but this year, man, like I just want to watch it and get it over with. And if they win, just relax the rest of the day, right? And not have to worry about whatever else. But that's my short, quick psychoanalysis of the Oklahoma Iowa State game. I am gonna take Oklahoma because again, it is hard to beat another team twice, and I think you give Lincoln Riley time to prepare, 2 weeks to prepare for a defense. I think he's gonna do pretty well. So we'll see. Time will tell, but I'm hoping that we get to play in the Sugar Bowl against like Florida or maybe a Texas A&M. Love that matchup. I've seen our name in the Cotton Bowl to play Indiana. I love that matchup. They got pretty good defense. Their offense is pretty suspect, but with
So,
the loss of Michael Penix
would
Jr.,
your wife speak that week, or would that just not work?
it'd be interesting, man, because she's obviously taking on the mantle of an OU football fan because of me for the most part. And most of that's because IU's not been good, but this year IU's been good. So she still wears Oklahoma stuff, but she's really excited about IU.
Yeah.
So if that happened, there'll probably be some trash talk.
So I
And
know
I
she's a big
I,
IU
I
basketball
think
fan.
I think she knows who be favored, and I think she knows who probably win. Um, but
She's gonna be one of those people you see with the IU shirt on under the OU hoodie.
yeah,
OU's on offense, and then she takes it off to the IU t-shirt, and then comes back and OU hoodie.
yeah. But yeah. Anyways, so what I'm most excited for really is now. I was excited for them to see them play tomorrow or Saturday, but we're not. Um, Early sign day is next week. Fortunately, it looked like we were going to get Emeka Egbuka, who is the number one wide receiver in the nation. He visited last week. It looked like we were going to get him. Unfortunately, looks like Ohio State is closing the deal on that. Is what it is. But we're stacked to wide receiver anyway, so I'm not really worried.
Yeah.
Hope the kid goes and it's great. But we're tracking to get the number one running back in the class, 5-star Kamar Wheaton. We put in crystal balls for him. We're tracking to get 5-star Tristan Lay out of Virginia. We've gotten a couple crystal balls for him. And then we also are potentially checking to get 5-star offensive guard Bryce Foster. If we got those three, and then also I think there's another 4-star that we're looking at. It propel us to like 5 or 4. So we'd have a top 5 class, which I think would be the first top 5 class for OU since like 2006. Believe it or not, we've had a couple top 10s with Coach Riley, but I don't think we've had a top 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
So
I don't know if you saw the straight panic
I
that
did.
went across my face when you said early signing day, and just my immediate thought was, "Oh crap! I have so much to do next week at work." But then I remembered we don't have football, and it's a football only signing period. So you gave me a heart attack for a couple seconds there, but then my logic came back to me. But I have been a horrible fan recently. Haven't really been tracking recruiting all that much. So I can't tell you much about who Notre Dame still has on the table, who they've got committed recently. I know a couple weeks ago we had 4 or 5 guys commit in 4 or 5 days. So it was a great little week there.
Yeah.
But after that, I have been not following the trail all that closely,
Yeah.
and that's on me. So perks of working in college athletics, but not always being around college athletics, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you.
So
Yeah. But hey, it's late. I'm gonna let you get to bed. I'm gonna get to bed.
sounds good. I was gonna say it's later for you than it is for me, but
We'll figure it out. Hey, Browns Ravens Monday night. Who you got?
I don't know. I haven't really watched either of them play recently.
Recent play, the Browns have looked better than the Ravens. I
I
mean,
would say they have looked better from what I have seen.
the Ravens look decent against the Cowboys, but
Where is it at?
Cowboys, it's in Cleveland.
That well, I guess it's not really as much of an advantage this year as it is in years past with limited capacities or no fans at all. But I will go ahead and take your boy, and I will go Browns in that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that if it depends on it. If Denzel Ward is back, it makes me feel more confident in the defense to stop Lamar. And I think Joe Woods. I think Joe Woods seems to. I think this is his first year. I think he seems to be doing a decent job. They're learning a new scheme, and I get that. I've been very critical of the defense because for whatever reason, people are talking about the defense like they're world beaters when it's just Miles Garrett and Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
Linebackers are average to below average. The secondary is a rotating door because of injuries, yes, but also just ineptitude, right? Like,
Yeah.
so they've given up a lot of yards, they've given up a lot of points. They played pretty well for the most part against Derrick Henry in the first half, but then they let Ryan Tannehill shred them up. Ryan Tannehill was good, but like they let them score way too quickly most of the time last week. So again, I think that depends on Denzel Ward's back. If he can lock down Hollywood on the outside, and if Miles Garrett can get after Lamar, especially in passing downs, which is a tough task, then I think that they have a good chance. I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to have to carry the offense. Not that Baker can't. I'm not saying he can't, but the Ravens like to do a lot of blitzing. So Kevin Stefanski is going to have a good game, and I think Baker's going to have to make some big throws and make some big time plays and not turn the ball over, which he's proven that he can take care of the ball. He's been doing that the last 6 weeks. Hopefully that trend doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Uh, Hopefully he continues to play well. I think he's really comfortable in the system. He's been incredible. And again, this is another thing. I'm a Baker stan. I watch, so I understand it more than anybody. I try to be realistic and I try to be reasonable with it. He's better. He has been incredible with his hard counts and just his control of the offense. He's in control of the offense, and you can tell. And again, if you don't watch the games or if you just don't understand football, you wouldn't know that and you wouldn't see that. I think that he's different from week one, which is the last time they played the Ravens and got smacked, and what is this, week 13?
13, 14.
Okay. And so that's another thing, like that it would just, again, this media pisses me off because they're like, oh, what happened against the Ravens in week one? It's like, okay, that's the first week of the season.
Yeah.
You're learning a new offense. Can you really, like, this is week 13. Forget week one. We'll see what happens. Now, if he goes out there and lays the egg, I'll eat my crow. I'll say what I need to say. But like, I think he's gonna do well. Even if they lose, I think he'll perform well. I really do have confidence in that. So but I am gonna take the Browns by one score.
Okay.
So
There we go.
football.
Football. I mean, I don't watch a ton of NFL football. Sunday
Yeah.
is typically my day to just kind of relax and catch up on the homework that I haven't done for the rest of the week.
Yeah, facts.
Um, but I'll try and watch my Bears pretty much every week. I don't know why I do this, but I try to watch them. And then I'll sometimes have a game on just in the background as I'm doing homework. Otherwise, I'll just listen to music. So I am not the best person to talk to about NFL football, but I do my best to keep up to date. So, like I said, I'll take Browns by a score in this, and mine is much less informed than yours is
Yeah.
of a pick.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think that's why I get so frustrated, not just with Chris, but with other people, even trolls online, like real people that have real things to say, not like are trolling. I don't want to talk to trolls,
Yeah.
but like I take my takes seriously, and I do my research, and I'm not just talking out of my butt. Like I'm talking from experience, what I've physically seen, and stats that I've looked up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring some arbitrary argument to our conversation. I think that that's dumb, and if you're going to do that, you shouldn't be having a real conversation or argument about that anyway. If you're just going to go off of opinion rather than real factual things or things that has happened. So I think that's why I probably get so annoyed. It's just because I'm like, I take it seriously, you
Yeah.
know.
No, I get you.
But if you ain't got anything else for the people.
I don't. Where's OU track at this weekend?
I don't even know if did they run this weekend?
I don't remember. I just figured you might know where your sister was.
I haven't talked to her all week. Probably need to talk to her tomorrow.
Yeah, you probably should. But no, I don't. We just got a game on Saturday, and then I'm glad Notre Dame doesn't play. But other than that, not a whole lot going on.
Their next track meet is not until the 15th of January.
All
So
right, so they got off for all of Christmas.
yeah, and Grace is gonna want to go to that. That's in Fayetteville,
Oh,
Arkansas. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll check my schedule and see what I'm doing that weekend. I might go.
okay. All right, man. I'm gonna head out. You gonna
All right.
head out? We love y'all. I know this is one of our longer ones, but hey, it's been a minute. Um, hopefully not hopefully we'll get back on it and we'll see you guys for Championship Saturday next week.
Facts. I just looked. I'm free that weekend. I might see you in Fayetteville.
Okay. I won't be there though.
Oh, all right, cool. Well, whatever.
I won't be here, but you might see my parents there. But who knows?
Oh yeah, who knows?
All right. Well, with that being said,
Go Irish.
Boomer Sooner.